Today we will start a new chapter, that is market structure. A market, as we all know, that it is a place where buyers and sellers meet with each other to exchange things or to transact with each other. However, in economics, we can define it more precisely and more broadly. It can be defined as the sum total of all the buyers and sellers in the area or region under consideration. The area may be the earth or countries, regions, states or cities. So we can say that a market is not confined to a restricted place. A market can be classified under three heads. So let's classify it. A market can be classified on the basis of geographical area, on the basis of time, and on the basis of competition. And in this, we will mainly focus on basis of competition, and we'll see that under competition, on the basis of competition, how market behaves. Now let's categorize market on the basis of degree of competition. It can be classified under two heads: perfect competition and imperfect competition. Imperfect competition can further be classified into three categories, that is monopoly, monopolistic competition and oligopolistic competition. It depends on the degree of competition that what type of market is that. Like monopoly has 0 degree of competition. Monopolistic competition is imperfectly competitive with many buyers and sellers, whereas oligopoly is competitive with few sellers. Let's first start with the perfect competition and see what are the features that needs to be fulfilled for a market to be a perfectly competitive market. See one by one the essential characteristics for the existence of perfect competition. There must be a large number of buyers and sellers in the market. The firms must produce homogeneous product. There is free entry and exit of firms. Firms have perfect knowledge of the market. There is perfect mobility of the factors of production and goods. Firms cannot control price. There is free entry and exit from the market and absence of transport cost. So perfect competition is a market structure in which there are a large number of producers and buyers producing a homogeneous product so that no individual firm or buyer can influence the price of the commodity. Before I give some examples of perfect competition, let's first study all the characteristics in details. So let's start and focus on the first characteristic, that is large number of buyers and sellers. There are a large number of buyers and sellers of the commodity under perfect competition. This means that under perfect competition, a firm produces such a small part of the total market output that a change in his output will have no significant effect on the market supply and hence the price of the commodity. On the other hand, the number of buyers is also so large that no single buyer can influence the market price by changing his demand for the commodity. That means an individual buyer buys such a small quantity of the total output of the product that any change in the quantity demanded by him has negligible impact on the total market demand and hence no influence on the market price of the commodity. So this is how the buyers and sellers cannot influence the price of the commodity. Hence, the firms are the price taker rather than price maker, and on the other side also the buyers have to accept the given price. This is all about large number of buyers and sellers. Let's now focus on the next feature, that is homogeneous product. The products of various firms under perfect competition are indistinguishable from one another. That means they are perfect substitutes for each other. This implies that no firm can influence the price of the product. He cannot charge higher or lower price for its product. Similarly, the buyer has no reason to express his preferences for the product of one particular firm, and so he is indifferent to the firm from which he buys. The next important feature of perfect competition is freedom of entry and exit. Now, this is one of the most important feature of perfect competition. Why this is so? This means that the new firms are free to enter the industry and existing firms are free to leave the industry if they desire. So, there are no legal or social restrictions on the firms on their entry of new firms into and the exit of old firms from the industry. Why this condition? This is one of the most important criteria for the market to be a perfectly competitive market. Why is this so? This is because if the existing firms are earning supernormal profits, the profits which are more than normal profits, then new firms will be attracted to the industry and increase the total supply in the industry. And as a result, the market price will fall down and wipe out the supernormal profit. On the other hand, if existing firms are incurring losses, some of them would start leaving the industry, leading to decrease in the supply and rise in the price till the losses are wiped out. So this is how free entry and exit of firms becomes the most important feature of perfect competitive market. Now let's see that how perfect knowledge becomes an important feature of perfect competition, or how it ensures perfect competition in the market. If consumers, firms and resource owners under perfect competition have perfect knowledge about the market conditions, that each firm knows the factors prices, the commodity prices and all the information prevailing in the market. So, none of the firms or the buyers can influence the price of the commodity, or the sellers of factors of production also cannot influence the prices of the factors of production. So, these characteristics of perfect knowledge would ensure that price differences are quickly eliminated and a single price for the commodity would ultimately prevail throughout the market. In the same way, firms have perfect knowledge about the available technology of production. Each firm is therefore able to make use of the best available technology of production. So this is how the firms, the sellers, the buyers and sellers of factors of production, the buyers and sellers of commodity or product have the perfect knowledge about the price, the technology, and the other important criterias. Another important feature of perfect competition is the perfect mobility of the factors of production. This means that the factors of production are completely free to move from one industry to another at their will, and if they desire so. This feature ensures that factors of production can enter or exit from a firm or industry at their own will. This also implies that resources are available to switch over from one use to another without any restriction. The restriction may be social or legal. So, such restrictions does not prevail in perfect competition. This feature makes free entry and exit of firms possible. So this is how perfect mobility of factors of production supports the free entry and exit of firms. In a perfectly competitive market, there is absence of price control. What does it mean? It means that no individual firm can influence the price of the commodity. It has no control over the price. Why is it so? It is because in this type of market, the price is determined by the industry as a whole. It is determined by the forces of market demand and supply by taking all the firms together. A perfectly competitive firm is such a small part of the total industry in which it operates that it cannot affect the price of the product. This is supported by the first feature of the perfect competition, where we have already done the part that there are large number of buyers and sellers in the competitive market. So, the firm has no control over the product price, and hence an individual firm has to take the price that is decided by the forces of market demand and supply, and hence a firm is a price taker and not a price maker. Another important feature of perfect competition is absence of transport cost. This implies that the price of the commodity or the price of the factors of production does not include the transport cost. Why this is so? This is because if the transport costs are included in the cost of production, the cost of production would be higher, and consequently the price of the factors of production and also the prices of the product. So this is why in perfect competition it is assumed and it is necessary to maintain uniform price throughout the market. Let me give you some examples of perfectly competitive market. Agricultural markets are perfectly competitive. The foreign exchange market is also perfectly competitive market, and online businesses are emerging as the largest industry at a global level. So this is how the perfect competition ends up here, and I hope that I've been able to make you understand about the chapter. In the next part, we will do monopoly, monopolistic competition and oligopoly under imperfect competition head.